Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I'm here with the Duality Evolution Cup, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can blow through this thing and see how many upgrades are required. Now, understand that I have the Purple Star and the F5 Venom both fully maxed, so it will be a very easy event for me. What I'm going to try to do is actually give you an idea of the overall difficulty by taking a look at kind of getting through this without necessarily using the full upgrades. Alright, so the Tuatara is the weaker of the two in my opinion. Not to say that it's a weak car by any means, it's a pretty fast car, but it can certainly be better. Right now I'm running this car close to fully max, but as you can see it's a 711, which means it's not running all stage 6s, but I've only left out essentially one of the weaker stage 6s for the purpose of this video. The F5 Venom is a stronger car here. The F5 Venom actually should be able to get through its 10 races without having to be close to full fusion at all. I mean full stage 6 at all. With full fusions of course. But let's first take a look, see how rough this is for us. One thing about the Tuatara is that it beats Dyno by quite a bit. What happens is, despite the dyno saying the car may only do a 7.8, it'll run a 7.4. Fully maxed, it'll be like 7.4, but it'll run a 6.9. So, in many tunes, this is a dyno beating car, although dyno beating in and of itself does not make the car, necessarily better. We should be okay. I kind of botched that one there, but made it through the speed trap anyway. 324 on 320. You don't actually want to get into second too quick with this car. It kills its acceleration. 35, 36 mile per hour, then second gear, third gear quick, and then fourth gear all the way, fifth gear nitrous. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange car. And the World Record Edition is basically the same. So, okay, again, I got out of first just a little too quick, but from a time standpoint, the car's quick enough to still make it. Did a 7.6 there when I should have been doing 7.4s, so a little bit slower than it should have been doing. So again, first gear, you needed to let it spin a little bit, get a little bit of traction, then you can shift to second gear at about 3,000, shift to third at 3,500, all the way to fourth, and then so on and so forth, nitrous in fifth. So that's kind of how you want to do this. See, if I shift too quick, you bog down the car like that, and it kills it. So, all right. So we'll redo that race real quick. And this time, what we'll do is we'll let it spin to about 35 miles per hour before we hit second gear. Okay. Again, you want to launch around 5,900 to get one of the better runs. Okay, so there you go. Much better run. That one I launched a little bit on the late side, but nonetheless, 7.4 run pretty easily. There should be another speed trap coming up. Two speed traps. The second one is the harder one, and generally needs a retuning. Even if you have a pretty much fully maxed car, it's going to require possibly retuning, but let's see if we can get it without tuning it. Okay, 322, 323 is what I can hit without tuning. So we'll go ahead and tune it for 340. 340 is not super hard for this car with the upgrades that I have, but the gearing has to change where the final drive has to be brought to a point where the car tops out at 350, right around there. So you just move it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you can do 6 gear at 340 like this as well. It'll still do the 340 without a problem. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll top out in 6 gear. We can do it this way. Let's just do it this way. 7th gear works as well. Either one works. As long as you have it kind of topping out quicker, the Tuatara will run in the quarter mile what it basically runs speed trap wise in almost half mile. So let's go ahead and go do this. Don't have to short shift too much, but you can definitely short shift a little bit. And again, you can hit nitrous probably like fourth or fifth in my case. So as you can see, it's pretty easy to get through the speed trap there. Boom, 347. Okay, and there might be even faster speed trap before the end here, but let's go ahead and put the car back to the normal setting for racing, which is usually around like a 2.43 final drive, fully maxed. But even not fully maxed, you can run somewhere around that final drive and still get a very decent time out of the car. So, I mean, one other thing you can do is do this with the nitrous. Not necessary when it's not fully maxed, but so let's see, 7.956. I can put it up a little bit. Okay, 7.859. It'll probably do, you can leave it at 7.43 and probably still run like a 7.4 something out of the car. So we'll stick with that. Well, as long as we're here, might as well take a look at what stage 6 I left out. Again, I didn't leave out anything I consider to be super important. So the only one we're missing is turbo. Okay, if you take any of the other stage 6s out, the car gets slower by quite a substantial margin. Unfortunately, this car isn't that fast at stage 5 only, and missing stage 6s also hurts it. So this is, again, a more part-dependent car between the two. Okay, so saying it's extreme. That's because I'm dynoing 7.9, and the opponent should be running faster than that now. This is also why you kind of bog down if you shift too quick into second gear, because you actually have the final drive pull back pretty far compared to what would be considered max Evo tune, so to speak. But this setup actually does help it. As you can see, still runs 7.4s. Now if I put the final drive to like 7.5 something, it actually makes it slightly better at hitting 7.4s. So any one stage 6 missing, generally your final drive tuning will change a little bit. Okay, it won't be exactly the same. Five, 6, 7. There we go. Pretty smooth run there. Okay. Now, right before the end, we may hit under 7.4 time, but we're on race 9 out of 10. So let's see what the challenge is now. It might be a speed trap again. We'll see. Nope, this is a time run. Oh no, it's a sprint. Okay, so sprint, this car basically drives the same way. Okay, just let it spin a little bit in first gear first, and it should do it okay. All right. I need to. I'm probably better off not using nitrous, so we're gonna skip nitrous altogether on this. Because usually it's faster without nitrous. There it is. No nitrous. Boom. Done. Okay. Because it's supposed to get nitrous later in the challenge, not so far ahead. But again, if you really look at it, if I didn't have as many upgrades as I have, that would have been a pretty challenging race. So we're on race 10, relay. Let's go ahead and do it. With these two cars upgraded the way they are, the relay is only a hard. It's not even really challenging, so to speak. Hard relays are usually pretty easy. Here we go. Let's go. But you don't want to botch the run though. Okay. Pretty good. So it just went from hard to challenging, which makes it pretty much went from hard to I wouldn't call it easy, but much easier. Here we go. All right. So F5 Venom is a better car out of the two, in my opinion. Pretty easy to drive car. But that was launched a little poorly. Sometimes I get confused between live racing and map racing, and I'm looking for that launch button all of a sudden and letting go at the wrong time. But it didn't hurt it anyway because the car is relatively fast. Alright, so for the F5 Venom, we'll see how the challenge goes. I'm running even less parts on this car than I am on the Tuatara, but my feeling is it will go through without too much difficulty. Maybe one of the speed traps, or maybe near the end, the times may not hit what is required, but it's a really good car. I mean, it's fast at stage 5 only even. So without stage 6s, of course, you won't make it, but with a few strong stage 6s, this car can definitely do some damage. Unlike the Tuatara, which really needs most of its stage 6s, this car basically just needs probably 3 or 4 of the stronger ones, and it'll run like 7.2s, which I'm doing. And that should make it through. 7.2s should cut it. The car's folding max is only 6.9, so we're pretty close to it. Okay, that was a little bit of a botched shift pattern there, but didn't seem to hurt the time any. 7.233, boom. If we follow the other car's pattern, I should have a speed trap coming up pretty soon for the slower one, and then race 16 maybe a faster speed trap. So maybe race 14. Okay, it looks like the Porsche shot up pretty quick, but this car has a really high top end. Because it has a high-speed top end, it also makes this car relatively easy to do speed trap with, right? Because, hey, it runs fast. As much as they make the speed trap difficult, this car is fast enough that it can do most speed traps pretty easily. So, here we go again. Okay. Right on through, no issues. And we're at race 15 out of 20 coming up. And again, everything so far, unlike the Tuatara, everything so far just on easy. Easy, just cruising right through with the F5 Venom. This is why I recommended this car over the Tuatara. If there was only one car you were going to get, I would say get the F5 Venom, because overall in the long run, it's a car that you'll have more use out of. And it's relatively competitive in live. In fact, it's quite competitive in live, I should say. Tuned without having to worry about fully maxed. This car can compete in quite a few lobbies in live racing very effectively. It is not generally a dyno buster, however, with even lower upgrades, you can even make it bust dyno. Not that I would necessarily feel that's necessary with this car, but it's an option. Okay, so sprint, again, it sprints faster than the Tuatara. If you have this car built to the point where you can beat the Golden Cup even, the Golden Duality, not even the Evolution Cup necessarily, it's more than enough to take down Harkness at that point. So again, it's a very, very decent car. Easy to drive, very consistent, doesn't have a lot of shift pattern variable issues. It's just an all-around great car. What surprised me is we haven't had a speed trap at all on the second half, whereas we had 2 on the first half. So maybe I should have put this car in the first half. It would have probably been better, but let's see. I'm using nitrous in third because I forgot in second. Doesn't really change the time that much, but second gear nitrous is still better. Okay, coming up. All it says is the next race is hard. Well, as I keep saying, hard is easy. So, speed trap. Okay, 345. That's not even going to make this car breathe hard, because 345 is nothing for this car to hit. Okay, And I didn't really try to find the best way to get there, and we're talking 348, a 708 level upgrade, and blew right on through that, and we're up to race 20. Just like that, I'm at the last race of the Evolution Cup. Again, the struggle is going to be with the Tuatara, not so much the F5 Venom. Okay, same deal as before when I saw the, anytime I see not quite extreme, previous events included, not quite extreme just means if you don't botch up your run, it's not really extreme. It's more like just a little bit challenging. Okay, so I cannot get out of the first gear too quick, but even if I don't drive perfectly, should be relatively easy to get through. Okay, so it just went from extreme to hard after that run. That means this is a, I don't call this an easy Evolution Cup, but certainly this is a lot easier, simply because the F5 Venom is such a good car. This is what happens when a good car is involved in a cup like this versus two relatively crappy cars being involved in an Evolution Cup where things are very frustrating. I mean, this is basically a breeze. And just like that, our job is done. Let's take a look. We'll collect the World Record Edition, which incidentally is basically the same car as the white one that I'm using. It just looks different. Tunes almost the same way. Everything's about the same way. So this is a World Record Edition Tuatara. Interesting little tidbit is that this car got wrecked and is no longer in existence. So while it lives on in CSR2, the real one is done. It was in a truck that flipped and was totaled in the process. The other thing is, I thought the one that I saw at the auto show, which was the one that is used for the record attempt, because there was only like two Tuataras in the world at the time or anything. I thought the black color was darker, like it's more of a black car. This looks almost like a dark gray in the way they did the coloring, but hey, right? Who am I to say CSR is not coloring it right? I think it, you know, it should be darker, at least according to my photos that I have from the auto show and my memory of it. It is a darker, shiny black color than what we're seeing here. But nonetheless, there it is, Tuatara World Record Edition. A lot of, if you recall on YouTube, there was actually quite a lot of arguments about whether this car actually hit the time that it claimed initially, which SSC eventually said no, we didn't hit that time, and then they fixed it. And it's still a fast car, but it's not a world record car anymore. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Let me just jump back to the F5 Venom real quick, just to show you the upgrades I was using, and then we'll call it. I hope you enjoyed this, and not that I'm saying this video will necessarily help you in trying to get through the event, but it gives you a little bit of a gauge on the difficulty of the event. Overall, the event is pretty easy. Okay, so take a look at that F5 Venom one more time. Wow, that was nice. It did not actually do it. I did click on the Venom, right? You guys saw that. Little bit glitchy. Natural motion. Your game is a little bit glitchy. Oh, there it is. It is late and I am tired, but hey. Alright, so engine, trans, turbo, intake. Don't have those four. I'm only using nitrous body and tire to make it through that one. So that tells you how good the F5 Venom is. I mean, it's a fast car that is actually very good for both map events, Tempest, as well as live racing. So yeah, quite a nice car. I did not want to spend gold keys to pull another one necessarily, just in a different color. So I'm staying with the red one that I got. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. Feel free to let me know what you think. Comment in the comment section if you have any additional insight. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you like my channel, subscribe, hit the bell. You get notifications when I put up new videos. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. I'll catch you next time.